Let's talk herd.
When you're doing and working in like a conscious horsemanship type of modality, it's making sure people understand that there are rules of engagement where, and they do go both ways, where if I'm sharing space with this horse, I'm asking things of them, then they get to express themselves so long as it doesn't physically harm my body. And I get to express myself so long as it doesn't physically harm their body. So they can say they don't like something, they can kick out, they can do all the things as long as there's space and there's no physical contact made. And same thing for me. I can be frustrated and I can be confused and I can, have all of these emotions and I can own them, but I can't physically harm the horse because of them.
Yeah.
So the boundaries are a big thing. And people being able to express and create a boundary from a place of neutrality is a really big thing. So not doing it because you're afraid, not doing it because you're mad, because people will sense that, especially when you're dealing with other people. It's understanding why you're creating the boundary, feeling good about creating the boundary, and then upholding that boundary from a good feeling place, a place of I'm keeping myself safe, I'm keeping you safe, while still being able to hold this container for you to be able to tell me how you feel about this. Little things that you can do for them in choice is just slowing down the grooming process. I have a conscious grooming practice that I invite people to do, where most people don't realize that how much your physical touch is starting out even the day with resistance or defensiveness. People are so unaware of how powerful the touch can be because we're just so used to seeing people throw their halter on, go get the brush, you brush the horse off, you saddle them up, everything's happening really fast.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the horse has communicated to you like 57 times how they don't like the way things are being done and they're being disregarded. So you're setting up your entire time you're sharing with them with, you don't matter, your feelings don't matter, we're doing it this way, and here we go. And then they go out and they want self-carriage and relaxation in their horse, in a partnership where that's not safe for them to have that. So the way it looks is, opening up the stall door, and holding the halter there and taking a breath there and waiting for the horse to actually be ready to engage with you instead of just going in and, imposing yourself on them. Or with the brushing, I invite people to take a breath in between each shift of a thing, right? So I call it pressing in, a lot of people don't drive stick anymore, but, press the clutch in, right in between each thing before you shift gears, take a breath, press the clutch in.
Yeah.
Before you put the saddle on, you put the pad on, check in. You good? Are we feeling okay today about that? Cool. These little tiny conscious breaks in between each thing make a huge difference to the horse. It allows them to feel seen and to feel heard, and that alone brings a lot of softness into their body. And if you're talking, like I said, if you're talking about inviting a horse to have self-carriage and carry themselves and do all these things that you think they want, but the entire first part of you interacting with them is you completely disregarding how they feel, then you're going to be working through a lot more resistance once you get on than you would be if you just slowed down and checked in.
Yeah.
And there are days where I think people disregard a lot of things with mares, their judgment around, oh, she's just crabby today, or, oh, I'm like, have you ever, had times where you're, having your own cycle and you feel like, that's usually what you can like,
so true.
stop, like, no, you wouldn't want someone, getting on your back or, having your personal trainer ask you to stay in a plank for 3 minutes, you know what I mean? It's like, this stuff is all valid and we invalidate them constantly, and it's really kind of gross when you think about it. And that's something that we were actually going to talk about on our, what is going on for them and why are we labeling and disregarding them so much, and on those days, like I have a mare here, her cycles are incredibly uncomfortable for her, and when I go out, I can tell the day before she gets really emotional and she gets really attached to all the other horses all of a sudden, and I go, oh, I recognize it, and we work with it, and no, I don't get on her and ride her and ask her to carry me around and pick herself up and do this stuff. I'm like, No, she gets to go out in the pasture and just do her thing. She gets some Banamine if she's really uncomfortable, like it's to that point where she'll look like she's colicking.
Yeah.
And we just
Yeah.
work around it. And it doesn't mean you get more behind. Your training doesn't suffer. It's, you're honoring this entire other being's um, experience on this
Yeah.
planet. And
Yeah.
we have so much control over everything that they do. That's our responsibility if we're going to, expect these things performance wise from these horses. And we need to start honoring like their bodies and what is creating that performance for us. And so I think it's really about shifting the perspective of that stuff. And I don't, just because I've given a horse 3 or 4 days off because they're uncomfortable doesn't mean their training is lost by any means.
No.
If anything, it's better because they feel good, they feel 100% go to ask them for this stuff, and then they also feel seen and heard and safe in a partnership with you, so they're willing to do more for you because of that.
Yeah.